sound be used for enlighten and heal someone or control them? And what are the enlightening frequencies and what are the limiting frequencies?
Well, every form affects every other form. So different sounds can be used to change how we think and how we feel. Right? We speak words and that's sound. So the words that I choose educate your mind because you have a definition structure of my sounds. And so we share a vocabulary, we share a language, and thus you can understand my sounds. So yeah, what I use for my sound is going to change your mind. Also, the quality of my voice, the tone of my voice, that's going to educate you as well. That's going to influence you. When I'm happy, my voice will sound different than if I'm upset, sad, or depressed. So the type of words I use with my sound, the quality of the frequency of my sound, right? It all changes you. Okay. There are other non-vocal sounds that we can produce with instruments or computers, and they'll have an effect as well. The frequency of sound is very powerful at changing our emotions. And it's not just sound that does this. Every one of the five senses affects our emotional energy. Different colors make us feel different. Look at a color gray, right? Choose a picture, load up on your camera or your computer screen rather, and look at it. And you'll notice you start feeling a certain emotion. Change that gray to yellow and notice that you start feeling different. Change it to blue. Every color also affects your emotion. Shape affects your emotion, which is also light, right? So different shapes make you feel different ways. Okay? Different smells make you feel different ways, right? All the senses change your emotion. What we're really trying to do with sound therapy and color therapy and light therapy and foods is changing our emotions. Right? We're using physical forms to affect the next dimension inward, which is our emotion. And if we can change our emotion, then we can affect the next layer inward, which is our mind with our understanding. Right? If you're looking at gray all the time, you're going to feel kind of depressed, right? And then you're going to start believing I'm an unhappy person, and you're going to start making choices that an unhappy person would make. What if you surrounded yourself with yellow and you just wore yellow clothes and looked at yellow all the time? You're going to feel very happy and very excited, okay? And then you're going to start acting and thinking like an excited person does. You're going to let yourself express more and do more things and take more chances and risks because you're letting yourself create. So the goal with any of these physical therapies is to change our emotions. And as we change our emotions, we're also changing our understanding of who I am and what life can be like. Sometimes, right, we emphasize physical sciences and think this is it, this is what's going to heal the illness, this is the end all be all, this is what's going to make us enlightened, right? But if we start examining the process, we really see this string of events where the physical changes emotional frequency, which changes our understanding. And when the understanding is really the most important part. If I can convince you of something and you believe it to be true, you'll start creating a different reality for yourself. You'll start interpreting life differently and making different choices. If I educate you how to use your mind, you can generate any frequency you want in your body. For those of you who've been watching this interview, you might notice that I'm a pretty happy guy, right? And it's kind of consistent. That's because I've learned how in my mind to generate frequency, right? Okay, so we can generate frequency using this creative part of our intelligence. Then I don't need to use yellow clothes or gray pictures or certain flavors or smells to determine how I think. Or determine how I feel. I'm being a greater creator using my mind, creating from the inside out. Creating from the outside in works also, but it's different. It's so much easier to just change your mind, and then you can experience what you want. Now, people have to wake up to realize that they have this creative power, and that waking up process is enlightenment. In my experience, sound can't make a person enlightened. Sound can change your emotional frequency. And as your emotional frequency changes, the way you think about yourself and the way you interpret the world changes, and then you can have a better life. And so sound can help you progress, definitely. definitely can. But enlightenment, genuine enlightenment, is something very different. That's how I use the term. Enlightenment is understanding you're the creative consciousness, your God consciousness. It's learning how to live consciously in your reality. And sound, it can't do that. Some people would say, well, maybe food can do that. And we say, well, food's pretty powerful, isn't it? You know, what some people think of as food is like apples and oranges and loaves of bread and cups of coffee. But food's more than that too, right? You can eat psychedelic foods, right? Mushrooms and ayahuasca and all these other foods that you ingest, and they can also change your emotion, right? That's what they do. They change your emotional energy. And some of these psychedelic foods, they can change it very powerfully, into which you then can gain a different understanding in your mind. But will eating these psychedelic foods make you enlightened? No, they won't. They'll change your emotion, they'll build new understanding, but they don't just give you enlightenment. A lot of people have been eating a lot of foods. People have been putting powdered metals into their body and powdered gemstones into their body long in recorded history. There's a lot of spiritual cultures hundreds of years ago that would grind up different objects, ingest it, and see what happens. And they thought that if they ate substances that shined with light, that I would become enlightened. But it doesn't work that way. In fact, we learned if you eat metals, it actually does the opposite. It actually harms your body in most cases. Okay. So these different external things change the other forms within your consciousness. You make a physical change, it's going to change your emotions, it's going to change your mind. You make a mental change, it's going to change your emotions, it's going to change your world, it's going to change what you do in your physical life. All of these dimensions, mind, emotion, and body, are all contained within your consciousness as God, as the soul, as this creator. Enlightenment is realizing you're the container holding and creating this human reality. So you can have sounds and tastes and lights and all sorts of things that change mind and emotion. And that can definitely give you a greater quality of life. And it can definitely help you to wake up. But there's a jumping point where we actually realize I'm the one doing this. I am the free will consciousness. It's all inside of me. And in that realization, that's what I call enlightenment. And that enlightenment also has a maturing process. So for some of us, we just woke up and we realize I'm free and I'm empowered. But then as we keep living awakened, then it develops to become even a greater understanding of what all of this is. And that becomes this God realization experience that some people have talked about. You asked what frequencies to use. I never really studied the sound sciences. But I mean, what I say is just listen to a frequency, notice how it makes you feel. And if you feel good after listening to that sound, then keep using it if you have a desire to feel that way. It's really just about emotional modification. But more powerful than anything in the world is the power of your mind. So if you can learn how to create with your mind, you will have the most authority, being able to choose how you want to feel, choose how you want to live, choose how the life that you want to create manifests for you. And that's really the most important part, I feel, realizing you're the creator, you're the God consciousness here.
Fantastic. That was fantastic. I think we came to the last question for today. That's a
Yeah,
long,
we'll wrap it up with that.
Well, thank you so much for your time and for your valuable information. We see each other in the next interview. You all know people, all the audience, they know, like, commenters. You can always comment if you have questions. You can always put them down here, then I pass them through. And if you liked the video, well, you like, and if you really loved it, when you love all these beautiful videos and questions, if you think they were interesting, well, subscribe the channel. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ilse. I really appreciate you inviting me on your show again. I love these interviews. I have a lot of fun, as you all can see. And thank you everyone who submitted questions. I think the questions are great. They get me to talk about things that probably you don't hear me talking about a lot in my own channeling videos. And I hope that everything that I shared today expands your mind and most importantly, helps you understand who you are as the free will creator within your own reality.
Okay, thank you so much. I wish everybody loads of light, and for the next interview, we see each other back. Bye.
Bye.